Hey, everybody! You know what time it is. You know who it is. This your boy. This old Sam. I'm back. I'm worse than ever, as you know. I'm chilling. If I'm not chilling, I'm trying to chill as soon as I can. You know how it goes. How's everybody doing? How you doing? You doing good? You doing bad? Are you doing so bad, but you're going to say you're doing good because it's important for us to mask our emotions? Are you doing so good, but you're going to say you're doing bad because it's important for us to mask our emotions? Are you doing just okay, and you're going to tell me that you're living the dream because you don't have an original answer to how's it going? Oh, who cares? You know, I do from time to time. I recently read on the internet that, contrary to popular belief, it is not cool to not care about things. It's cool to care. And that's something that has really resonated with me. I want to shout out Maddie from the local news. I can't think of what her Twitter name is. I think she's a DJ at Radio K. The radio station that I listen to, the college U of M station. It's pretty cool. I listen to it while delivering when I'm not listening to podcasts or my own jams. And she brought to my attention that it's cool to care. And so I'm trying to do that. You know, the election in 2016 taught me that. My dad kept telling me it's not cool to say you don't like things. I don't think it's cool, Dad. I just don't like what you do. You know, I don't like wearing socks with sandals. Yeah, I do. Did it all day after I got off work. But I'm wearing like cool patterned socks. Like I got one. It's navy with gray polka dots, and I've got a baby blue one with sharks breaching the water. And I'm wearing those with Under Armour slides. You know, I'm not wearing 28-year-old Hanes knee socks, you know, volleyball socks, go up over the knees, bunch down around my ankles, so it looks like I'm wearing mini leg warmers and these weird, like, not even Birkenstocks. They're not even that cool. They're leather sandals. They're not even Birkenstocks. But that's something else my dad taught me. You don't always need to spend the top dollar on your merch, you know? Generic is okay. Generic is okay. Jamiroquai. Jamiroquai not. And for the most part, he's right. When it comes to leather sandals, I'd say go Birkenstocks, you know? He'd say go Faded Glory. When it comes to Doritos, we both agree. Generic's just fine, baby. If you're going to go Cool Ranch or other flavors, go Doritos. But if you're just going nacho cheese, generic's fine. It's actually better. There's less cheese flavoring to it. Less of the cheese of powder. It's a less of the cheese of powder. The one thing that is so bad if it's generic is Oreos. Don't even come at me with Oreos are good if they're generic. It's like, no, they're not. Regular Oreos aren't even that good. You know, you want to go double stuff, baby, or like mint cream or peanut butter or like any other option. And you think generic chocolate sandwich cookies? You think your local grocery stores chocolate sandwich cookies, cream-filled chocolate sandwich cookies, are going to come close to even near half as close to regular stuffed Oreos? No, they're not, because they're going to be bad. For some reason, they're always going to be a bit soggy. So, I don't know. Generic's good every now and then. But you don't want a generic geriatric. Jerry, the actor. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's been beautiful out. So, like, I live in Minnesota, as you know. Some of us who are clever call it Minnesota. And the weather has just been terrible. It's been god awful, you know? And lately it's been dope. This past week has been dope. It's tight. Sun's out. It's like 45 degrees today. And I know all my LA buddies and all my Mexican buddies or whatever, and all my buddies who live south of the Mason-Dixon line. I got buddies all over the world. Who was that rapper that was always like pimping all over the world? Because that's like what I do, but with buddies. I got buddies all over the world, girl. I got buddies all over the world. I got long hair. I don't care because I got buddies all over the world. There's a reason I'm not a rapper. The weather's good. It raises my attitude just a little bit. And caring about things, I think, has raised it and it's lowered it. Because I think when you care about things too much, and this is something I said when I started the podcast. I was working on saying nothing matters less than I did. But I think if you care about stuff too much, it can cause some issues, you know? Like, I love Bosch, right? And I did a whole episode about Bosch last week. And if you liked it, let me know. You know, email me at deviledadvocate@gmail.com or whatever. Like, I loved making that episode, and I'd like to make more episodes like that. Maybe more Bosch related. Maybe not. You know, maybe about other TV shows. But tomorrow's the big day. I'm getting rid of my TV. By getting rid of it, I mean moving it out of my room. I'm really going to try not to watch TV until Bosch season 5 comes out. I mean, I'm going to keep up, like I said last week, with the episodes of the shows that are on TV right now. I'm not a psychopath. Like, okay, name one person who doesn't watch any regularly scheduled TV shows. My dad. He's the only person I know who doesn't do that. He's also the only sociopath I know. You know? Well, him and me. Him and me and Michael Jordan. And I don't know, maybe that weird mole guy who lives under the bridge who I always give money to. But other than that, those are the only sociopaths I know. And I'm feeling rushed. I got a P. Murph's pizza. Papa Murph's. Take and bake, baby. And I put it in the oven and it said bake for 32 to 40 minutes. First of all, that's way too long to cook a pizza, dog. And it's not quite enough time for me to do this podcast. So, I don't know. I might cut it off early to eat pizza. I might take a pause and you'll never know because I'll go take the pizza out. I'll come back here. I'll finish. Who knows? And better yet, who cares? You know? I really got to get guests back in the studio because I don't think you guys want to hear me scatterbrained rambling anymore, you know? So let's talk about what I'm here to talk about. All right, you okay with that, baby? You want to hear about it? Oh, the only thing I wrote down was weather. Well, I guess that's it. Bye. Just kidding. Wouldn't that be? That'd be like a mini episode. It'd be less than 10 minutes. I mean, you throw a fish song on the end of that, turns it into a 40-minute episode. But it was a good weekend. It was St. Paddy's Day weekend. St. Patrick's Day. That's Irish. Don't ask. If you don't know what Irish sounds like, that's it. That was good. It was good. What did I do this weekend? I stayed up like mad late on Friday. I don't remember. Oh, I went and saw an improv show, right? My buddy Andy, and you guys know Andy. I can't say his last name because then I'll have to bleep it out. My friend Andy's been trying to get me to check out this improv troupe in town called the Bearded Men, right? And so I finally am like, okay, I'm in. Because I'm ready to sign up for improv classes, so I might as well start watching improv. I listen to improv every week, whether it's Comedy Bang Bang, or it's Off Book, or it's Improv for Humans. You know, I love the art of improvisational comedy. So we go. It's funny. I laugh my little butt off. And if you know me, my butt's not little. I laugh my normal sized butt off. And And it was funny. But like there was one guy with somewhat of a beard and another guy, and the rest of the group, who cares? They were all women, and they were pretty funny. I'll tell you what. But Andy had said there might be an opener. And so this group starts, and I'm like, okay, they're the opener. And then like 40 minutes into it, I was like, you know what? Maybe these are the bearded men, or maybe we came on the wrong night or bought tickets to the wrong show. No, they said, thanks for coming out. We're the Bearded Company. None of the original members in it that Andy was so stoked about were there. What does that even mean? You know? It made me mad, but then I realized I still laughed. Still had a good time. So we got to the theater, right? And pull into the parking lot. I'm like, I see this guy walking out towards the car whose lights are on. And so we pull up to him. We're like, hey, are you leaving? And he's like, yeah, I am, but I'm parked in the back lot. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he proceeds to walk in the middle of the alley towards the back lot. And I just creep behind him, just like, I'm not even idling. Like, I'm idling with my, like, riding the brake, you know, just making sure I don't catch up to him, making sure I don't run over him. And then we get to the back lot. There's tons of spaces. Like, he could have just moved. We could have parked. We could have gotten in there quicker. But it was fine. I felt really bad for following him, but, I mean, he knew what was going on. I'm glad we talked to him. I'm also glad it was a male identifying person, because I keep learning that in this day and age, women are scared of men. And that's not a bit. It's an unfortunate circumstance. And it's something that we've done for it's not undeserved. You know, they've been living in terror, they being women or women identifying people or whatever. Because it's not about gender identity right now. It's about people should be able to feel safe, you know? We had to fire a manager for staring at girls' butts because they didn't like it. And like they wouldn't tell the manager. So I was like, all right, I'll tell him. Like, I don't have anything to lose. But you should be able to feel safe walking at night. You should be able to feel safe pumping your gas at night, getting in an elevator, getting your pizza delivered, you know? Shouldn't live in a constant state of fear. If I lived in a constant state of fear, I would be so scared, you know? And I do live in somewhat of a state of fear constantly, and it's just like social anxiety or whatever, but getting better at it. Not the best, getting better. It's tough. So yeah. What did we do? We went to the improv. I decided that women shouldn't be scared. And not that they're, because like I said, they deserve to be scared. It's just a shame that we've created that environment. Man, I gotta stop talking about serious stuff. This was so lame. All right, ladies, sorry to cut off that subject, but I'm moving on to something more important. On Friday, oh, that was already Friday. On Saturday, got the band together, baby. I've been talking about it on the podcast for a while. Gonna put together a little EP. Gonna write a little rock and roll album. And I met up with Jeremy. I met up with Jameson. Jeff was there. Those guys are all roommates. Their names all start with J. It's kind of funny. We call them the J Boys. No, we don't. And I started teaching him one of the songs I'd written, and I realized like I kind of forgot how it went because I'd written this one. Like this one was the most full one, and so I moved past it, and I've been struggling writing half songs, getting them ready to teach to real musicians. And so like I was like, all right, I'm having trouble remembering how to play the song about boxed wine. How would you guys like to learn the most recent song I've written fully for me, right? That's why I'm in a band with more talented people. Is it more talented or is it talenteder? In any case, I started that one and they're like, okay, yeah. And they're like, they could get behind my dumb lyrics, you know? And this was tough for me. These guys have never heard me sing, and I'm not a good singer. And so we sit down, we play through. I play through it once, and then they start jamming along. We just keep kind of playing through it, and then all of a sudden we have 3 different distinct guitar parts. Yeah, I poop you not, 3 different distinct guitar parts in one song in one day, and we more or less wrote the whole song. And I realized I needed to rewrite like the middle portion. We call it the second act of the second half, because there's 6 acts to this song, even though one and the first. It's a very repetitive song, but I need to change some lyrics so the repetitive parts stand out more, and you're not focused on the other stuff repeating. So it's been cool. It's been fun. We're gonna keep doing band practice. Hoping to record an album, like get it recorded late summer. Hoping we can have that and a bunch of covers done. Pretty wild, right? And so we go out for a couple drinks at St. Patty's Day. Keep it chill. Watch some Office or whatever. I don't know. It was a chill night. Next day, meet up with my buddy Stottle, friend of the show. He's never been on the show, but he's a friend of me, and I am the show. Call me Mr. Show. Has that name been taken? Has anybody ever heard of anything called Mr. Show that's comedy? No? All right, call me Mr. Show. Just kidding. Sorry, Bob and Dave. Bob Oden. Who cares? If you're listening to this, you know who they are. If you don't know who they are, look up Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, and Mr. Show, because it is a real thing. I would hate to take credit for what they did with that, especially since it birthed most of my favorite comedy writers. Mr. Show is good. It's very funny. Scott Ackerman of Comedy Bang Bang wrote for Mr. Show. I believe Paul F. Tompkins did as well. And they're kind of like the lords of podcasting, at least comedy podcasting. There's Mark Maron who does interviews and Pete Holmes who does interviews. Like, they're comedians, but they're not funny. And honestly, if you're listening to this, you know what podcasts are, and you've probably heard of those. If you're listening to this, you probably like those more than this. And so I'm gonna stop being self-defecating, because you can only self-defecate for so long until your pants fill up. Yeah. Big shout out to Aristotle. He's a high school state swimming guy. He's in like the Navy or something. All of these are before I met him. So we meet up and we have pizza. I get a Neapolitan pizza for the first time. It was dope. I'm going to give the company a shout out. Punch Neapolitan Pizza. This show's not brought to you by them, but I did like it. I had a good time. It was good food. So thank you. If you want to sponsor the episode, feel free. If you want to sponsor me. And Sunday was chill. It was chill. Just I accidentally took like a 3-hour nap. I might be getting my days mixed up. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so who cares? I've got so much going on. I can't even keep my days straight, yo. Like, I got a calendar, and it doesn't help me at all, because it's a tearaway day calendar, and they always have funny articles on them from like not The Office, The Onion, the popular satirical newspaper, and I don't think they're still in print, but they were, and they're online. If you don't know them, check them out. They're funny. No, if you don't know The Onion, you probably won't think it's funny, because if you don't know, you don't know. So I don't know. If you don't know, I don't know. I don't have a lot of stuff to say. I did comedy again last week. Did a little bit of stand up. It went pretty good. Went better than it did the week before, and that's a goal. Hoping I'm gonna keep getting up. I'm gonna keep rocking the mic like I just don't care. And I gotta go check on this pizza. It's really freaking me out. I hope the house isn't burning down. Be right back. And we back, 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 and we back. Pizza was fine. No bubbles. Nowhere near done. I'm going to need to go check on it again in another 12 to 15 minutes. So checking the first time is a bad idea, you know? I just did that for no reason. On a side note, I got a birthday card from my parents last week. My birthday was in January, and I got a Christmas card from my uncle this week. So I know I was talking about calendars, not Marie's either. My family's not great with days or times of the month or years, you know? Like, what year is it? 2005? I have no idea. Am I 12 years old? Hey, am I 12? You're not 12 years old, Samuel. You're 26. Oh, thank you, guy in the corner. How long have you been here? 14 years. 14 years? You gotta be pooping me. What? Just swear. It's funnier. No, it's children-friendly podcast, you fucking idiot. See, I don't know. I delivered today. My coworker took an order and it took him a long time. And afterwards he's like, I was talking to a translator. I was like, oh, like English. He's like, yeah, they were speaking English. I was like, no, duh, bro. I was curious if he was talking to like someone from another country who didn't speak English, or he was talking to a translator for someone like that. But check this out. That's the alarm I have on my phone because I think it's funny. So I'll go check on the pizza in a little bit again, I guess. So my coworker is talking to somebody on the phone. It's taking a long time. It tells me it's translator or whatever, right? It tells me they're deaf, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm wondering how that like interaction is going to go when I deliver their pizzas. And I get there, I park in a handicap space because I'm going to be in and out, whatever. I did that years ago when I was working up north at a pizza place, and I got a ticket, $280. I was parked there for 7 minutes. So it's something I should not do. But also, sometimes it's the only spot, and they can wait, just like everybody, you can wait for a pizza guy to get out of your space. So I go in, and the guy's deaf, and he's mentally challenged. He's mentally disabled. I really don't know how to say that word without it sounding mean, and maybe that's because there's been so much malice placed behind it through the years, So he's living in an assisted living home, and the dude was so happy about getting pizza delivered. And this is humbling for me because, today I hated my job. Today it was really slow. Most days out of a year, most days out of the year, I can go to work, and a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, that's just a pizza boy. That's just a pizza boy. He doesn't do anything. It's like, well, I clear 4 figures a year, bro. Almost 5. I clear 5 figures a year. I'll say it. I make over 5 figures. I'm in the double digits of thousands of dollars delivering pizza. And that is with my tips included in case the IRS is listening. Normally I can go into work and I know that I'm bringing people joy. And that's something that I want to do with my life, whether it be with the podcast, stand-up, the music, short films, whatever. Like, I want to make people happy. That's the reason I'm put on this earth. I truly believe that. And this guy was so happy, he was waiting when I walked up, and he like clapped a little bit, and he opened the door for me, and I was like, hey, I'm here for Mike. And then I realized, oh yeah, if this is the guy I'm delivering to, he can't hear me because he's deaf. And so I He opens the door for me, lets me into the front desk area. There's two interpreters there. And I shouldn't have said translators earlier, interpreters. And there I'm speaking to him, which I believe is the polite thing to do. And he's looking at them and they're translating it. And first he hands me his card and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't take that here. I'm trying to be as polite and as friendly as possible. I could have called his card in. And I said that, I explained that to the translators and they were like, don't worry about it. He's got cash. And so they do their sign language and he pulls out $40 and I'm like, oh, I don't have enough change to give you the amount of change you need back. And like, I'm willing to, his order was 21 and some change. I'm at the point where I don't need a tip. I'm happy enough to see the joy in this guy's face when he's getting his food. I can leave a couple bucks short and not have to worry about it getting a tip or whatever. And the translators they're like, no, you have smaller bills. And so he gives me 20, he gives me 25 and tries to give me another 20. And I'm like, I already have 120. Thank you. And then he signs something to the translators and they sign back. And then he gives me another $1. And I was like, oh my, already he's tipping better than most of the customers we have at $3 for a pizza. But then he wants to do more. And so he gives me another $1. And as I'm leaving, and this is the most, I don't know, humbling part is that he, not an audible or a vocal, he didn't have, I don't know, audio capacity in his mouth. It was a grunt. He grunted at me and he handed me another $1. So right now he tipped $6.50 on a $21 order, which is about 30 some percent. I'm not going to do the math right now, but it's impressive, for someone to, I don't know. I walked out the door and I was immediately like, in the sun, and I was just struck with this feeling of appreciation for everything I've been given, everything that I've been blessed with. And then I felt guilty about how little I do with it. And that wasn't, it wasn't a good feeling, but I can get better. I can move forward from this point as long as I, know. And we shouldn't need to see people to be reminded of our blessings. We should thank, whatever you believe in. If you're Christian, if you believe in, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, any religion, thank your God. If you're an atheist, thank the universe. If you're agnostic, make up your mind. And so I'm gonna try and finish this week and be my best, And what does that mean to me? It means I'm writing on the daily. It means I'm doing comedy on Thursdays, if not another day this week. Probably not another day this week. I got more editing to do on the short film. We just scrapped everything because we were cutting it together without syncing. We're cutting it together with using the camera audio, which is lower quality audio than what we recorded on. And so to be able to, when you make a film, if you don't know this, the camera picks up audio generally, but it's not high quality. And so you need to have a separate microphone collecting that audio data. Then you take that and you have to sync it up with the sound or with the video, right? So tell you what, those movie boards that they say, and action, and or scene one, take one, clap. It's called a slate. And those are used because on it says what shot, what scene, what take, scene one, take 5. So it's got scene, shot, take, all sorts of information on it. And that's the first thing that you should see when you go into editing. And then the clap is how you sync audio. You match up that one noise instead of trying to match up sound to mouth movement. I'll tell you what, when you're an independent filmmaker, you download a Slate app on your phone, and when your AD is the one who's slating, AD is assistant director. That's a little insider baseball for any nut jobs out there who listen to this who aren't super into, short independent filmmaking. Or just filmmaking in general. AD is a term, used on, most TV shows have two ADs. They have two assistant directors. So the homie Eric is we had a pretty bare bones crew. He shouldn't have been slating. I shouldn't have been running sound. And it shows now that we're trying to edit this, because we edited it all. I hate saying edited it. Edited it. That's where the mess up's coming from. Doesn't matter. The things I say out loud while talking to myself in my bedroom. That's what the name of this podcast should be. So we scrapped everything we'd worked on because, you cut the film together and then you have to go back and then find the right audio clip to cut it. So it's just easier to watch uncut footage from what I can bear. So it's taking a little longer, but got to keep doing it. I don't know. It's a work in process, guys. I don't have an outline for this episode. I hardly ever do, but taking a break to check the pizza. And I took another one, a while ago. Like there's the first one, which is pretty obvious. And then there's a second one, and I don't know if you can tell when I did it, because I was like, why would I announce doing this? So I just did it. And if you can tell or you can't tell, who cares? But email me if you can tell, and email me about, email me or hit me up on Twitter or Instagram about the sound quality of this bad boy, because I've started recording with different settings, and I think it sounds better. I think that it's now recorded loud enough where you don't have to turn it, like when I was listening in my car, I had to turn the volume all the way up. That's to 35, by the way. 35. I don't know why Spinal Tap thought 11 was so much louder than 10 when they could have just made it like a Ford Escape and made it up to 35. So dumb. So I think it's better. But I also think that this is a good quality, good use of my time doing this podcast. And what the hell do I know? Very little. I know that giraffes are the tallest animal in the world. I know that penguins look really good in tuxedos. I know that alligators and crocodiles are different. Pretty sure crocodiles have rounded teeth and alligators have pointy teeth, because but I don't know much outside of facts about exotic animals. I do know that strippers prefer to be called exotic dancers. I don't know. I was talking with the roomie about teachers and old teachers we had, and it struck me that every teacher I talked about was either hot or an English teacher. I had a couple science teachers that stuck out. I have a couple math teachers that stuck out, but the ones that truly impacted my life were English teachers. And you say, but Sam, why English teachers? Your English is absurd. You sound like a fool when you talk in English. And I said, well, it's different in America because it's about reading, not talking. That's what we go to speech class for, you idiot. Go back over the pond. But you must have been bad at geography as well. The Atlantic Ocean is far from a pond, you pompous idiot. And I said, I don't care. I'm trying to talk about how my English teachers were dope. But your English we've already been over it, bro. I don't care. I don't care. That's my Shrek impression. Not the Not the other one, but the last one. I'm an onion. I have layers like an ogre. I'm making waffles. But Shrek, it's Fiona. I'm an ogre too. I said I was an onion. All right. You guys ever see the movies Shrek? I've always thought that they were like, I don't know, one of the better trilogies out there. Like I'd say Shrek as a whole is a better trilogy than The Mighty Ducks. I do think, however, Shrek 2 is nowhere near as close a good a film as D2 The Mighty Ducks. But all of a sudden, in the past couple of years, Shrek has taken over the interweb. Everybody's talking Shrek. And I love that because to be fair, super funny. It's super funny. If you haven't seen Shrek in a minute, go check it out. You know, pause this, go watch Shrek a bit, come back for the remaining, 9 minutes of the episode or however long I'm going to record this. I try not to go too long for you guys because, I know you're doing me a favor listening. I try not to go too short because I want you to have to work for it. So what are some of the best trilogies, you ask me? Right off the bat, I'm going to say Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and I'm talking movies that at their original time were planned to be trilogies. Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings, can all go take a hike, find a bridge, take a swim. I don't give a rat sass about those movies. Partially because Star Wars started as 3, got 3 more. Probably getting to 3 more. Lord of the Rings, 3 movies for 3 books, I think makes sense. But then they go to make the prequels to that, right? Like they did with Star Wars. Blah, 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 so dumb. And they made 1 book into 3 movies. Harry Potter didn't even do that. And guess what? That's not a trilogy. So why am I talking about it? Terminator's a really good trilogy. The Mighty Ducks, Shrek, the Simon Pegg trilogy with the, Shaun of the Dead. This Is the End. And the best Hot Fuzz, baby. Those movies are great. That's a trilogy. It's a better trilogy than Star Wars. Better than Indiana Jones. I know I'm thinking of I'm missing some of the best trilogies. Like I can think of bad trilogies, like no problem. The Godfather. Never saw it. Saw the first one. Didn't need to see anything else. I already said Lord of the Rings. I already said all those fantasy ones. Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy or whatever, starts off so strong with and I'm not a big superhero nerd. I think superheroes are I think that they're dumb, and I say that as a defense mechanism. I just don't care about them. And I have no interest in catching up with them. It's not something that's been a big part of my life. I don't need to be negative about them. But, like Spider-Man 1 through 3, that was pretty good. Iron Man 1 and 2 were pretty good. But Batman, it seems like that people forget about Batman Begins because they're so overshadowed by the one with Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight. And then nobody remembers how bad the last one was because they were just happy for it to be over, And I got a list of trilogies here. We got The Matrix, haven't seen them, not a nerd. Iron Man, saw the first, saw the second one, didn't see the anymore. Spider-Man, I already talked about these, and it's one of those articles that makes you it's like a slideshow, so I have to go to every different page and see all their ads. Oh, this is a good one. Number 12, Evil Dead. This is a great trilogy. I'll tell you what, it's awesome. It's the first one, it's the second one. And then it's Army of Darkness, you know, Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness, you know, if a guy has a chainsaw on his arm, that's tight. That's awesome. That's going to be a better movie than most. Chainsaw Arm, better movie than most. And here's one. It's called the Before series, Before trilogy. I don't know that one. I feel like it's a Dick Linklater project, but not like School of Rock or Bad News Bears or Dazed and Confused. So it's like, who even cares about what Dick Linklater's doing? Mad Max, didn't care. Don't care about fantasy. Don't care about dystopia. The Three Colors trilogy. This one I know. I've seen Three Colors Red. I had to watch it in film school, and it was awesome. I don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember liking it a lot. And it's, this says it's an intricate house of cards. Anti-tragedy themed around liberty. That's blue. White is an anti-comedy on the theme of equality, and red is an anti-romance about fraternity. So the more I read about that, it makes me feel like I haven't seen it. Oh, but who cares? Because what's next on the list? None other than Back to the Future. And I realize I just said I don't like superheroes, and Marty McFly is the best superhero out there, except for maybe Michelangelo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But Back to the Future is great. I don't think I need to say anymore. The second one lived up to the expectations from what I understand. Part 3 was a little weird, but it was more original than the first. And so we can all be happy about that, you know? Plus, Michael J. Fox. What's next on the list? I don't know. Okay, so now I think we're gonna know all these, and I'm gonna hate them all. We got Captain America. Don't care. Indiana Jones. Enjoyed the first couple. They were fine. Dark Knight. Oh, this is boring, and my computer's so slow, so it's like I just have to come up with a little fodder between each of these. Godfather, I already said that, idiot computer. If Shrek isn't on this list, if The Mighty Ducks isn't on this list, Toy Story, excellent trilogy, excellent. They're coming out with a fourth, you know. Don't know how I feel about that. Didn't know how I felt about the third one. Liked the third one. Any cartoon movie that can make me cry is tight. It's tight. I'm into it. All right, and then next one is Star Wars. It says Star Wars and then Lord of the Rings. Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't. Those movies aren't for me. You know. And that's fine. I'm glad that they. Earlier in the episode, I said all I want to do and what I'm on this earth for is to bring people joy. If nerds and idiots like Star Wars and they like Lord of the Rings, and I've seen Lord of the Rings, it's enjoyable, but I'm not going to spend literally half a day to ever watch those movies again because I don't care. It's not the real world. If you need to watch fantasy stuff to escape the real world, you got major issues, cuz. Like, I'm trying to, and this is me. This is why I like comedy more than anything. Comedy generally takes a normal scenario and makes it absurd, right? They put you in the real world and then they crazy expectations, you know. Hot Rod, possibly the greatest expectation of all time, greatest film of all time, is all about a kid, 20-something, wanting to beat up his stepdad to gain respect, right? And can't we all understand that? Like, we all want to kill our fathers and date our mothers. Hashtag Oedipus. No, that's not Oedipus. That's Oedipus, right? Or is that Freud? I don't know. I've never been to therapy, nor have I studied what those guys do. So, Rod, this stuntman, he rides a moped. He's not very good at being a stuntman. If you haven't seen Hot Rod, watch Hot Rod. Maybe I'll do my next deep dive on Hot Rod because I love that movie, dog. He wants to beat up his stepdad, and if he, he puts a fake mustache on, his stepdad's like, real men can grow their own mustaches. And he's like, I hate you. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Frank, the stepdad, needs a new heart. It's going to cost $50,000. A conveniently priced heart, may I add. I was just watching this other show, Good Girls. A kidney cost $100,000. And that's through the doctor. So I can imagine that a heart would be a little more expensive. And so Rod sets out to get the money. The movie's them raising the money so he can do this big jump. And, I think it's 16 buses. Oh, that's nearly as many as Evel Knievel. Actually, Rico, that's one more than Evel Knievel. And so he jumps the buses, or does he? I'm not going to spoil it. Raises the money. Watch Hot Rod if you haven't seen it. It came out in 2007, which I believe truly is the greatest year for cinema, in cinema history, that there ever was. And I think I can say that wholeheartedly. And maybe this is what's going to get me that hate mail that I feel I so much deserve. This episode is all over the place. I think it's somewhat well structured after the second half, but I got a little somber there for a second. I got a little humbled, got a little serious, got a little silly. And that's what you get when you get old Sam, You get a little silly. You get a little less serious. You get even less humble. And I'll tell you what, you sure as heck get a lot of that somber. That kid loves his sombreros. It's a Mexican hat, don't you know? You put chips on it, salsa on the top. That's a sombrero. That might be offensive, but I don't care because I don't think it is. And it wasn't meant to be. And this is the end of the podcast because I have nothing else to say. I got that pizza upstairs waiting to be just trucked. So everybody, eggheads, new listeners, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Follow me on Twitter, salsa_Dave, DEPOD. Don't even follow that one. I never use it. Like the page on Facebook, Deviled Eggvocate. Rate, comment, review, wherever you listen. Honestly, if you could throw however many stars you think this is worth on Spotify or iTunes, I hate begging, but it's gonna help the podcast out in the long run. I'm in talks with some sponsors, seriously. And yeah, any questions, comments, concerns? You just want to send me some nudies? Hit me up at the Deviled Eggvocate at gmail.com. That's DEVILLEDGGVOCATE at symbol GMAIL dot the period COM. That's about all I got for you cats. Enjoy the springtime. Enjoy, beating up your stepdads, beating up your real dads. If I have one piece of advice for you this week is go out there and beat up your dad. My dad's listening to this. He can beat me up. He's done it before. Never because I was in trouble, because we were wrestling. He's just tougher than me. But, yeah, nothing's as bad as the emotional, beat up that I get when he doesn't listen to the podcast. I'm just kidding. I don't care. But if anybody out there has a podcast knows this, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Hey, mom and dad, quit calling me and asking me what's new. Just listen to my dang podcast. It's not that hard. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.